Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here. Alright, now here I am to review another sequel to the films that I had in last year's countdown for the top 10 best live action Disney films. Now here I am with another sequel, with a review for Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. So, yeah, last year I reviewed the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, so yeah, I'll have a link for that in the description if you want to watch it. And so yeah, with the success that the first film did, and since the film did make a shitload of money, Disney of course went down the route of Lord of the Rings, and so yeah, they filmed the original two sequels back to back, similar to how with Lord of the Rings did it for Fellowship of the Two Towers and Return of the King. Yeah, they did it here with this film, Dead Man's Chest, and then the next sequel, At World's End. So yeah, and yeah, like I told you guys last year when I reviewed the first movie, the Pirates of the Caribbean sequels I really have not been too crazy for. This film, did like this sequel, but the other three sequels I really have not been a very big fan of. Um, yeah, with At World's End, I really was not a fan of that film. I really didn't care for it very much. Plus, I just felt that it kind of did mess up some elements of the story from this film. Yeah, with On Stranger Tides, I did not see that film, and I just felt that it was just like a totally pointless film to do. It was just like I didn't even see why they even made that. And then last year's film, Dead Man Tell No Tales. Uh, I did see that film in the theater, but that film was completely forgettable. I really do not remember anything from that film at all. So yeah, it was a pretty forgettable film. And yeah, even despite the fact that I've never seen On Stranger Tides, from what I've heard of it, people really do not seem to really remember much from that film at all either. So yeah, really seems like just yeah, On Stranger Tides and Dead Man Tell No Tales just are really pointless and forgettable sequels. So yeah, the Pirates of the Caribbean sequels I really have not been too crazy for, except for this one. This film, I really do like it. I saw it in the theaters, and yeah, I really did like it. I mean, personally, when I saw it in the theaters, I actually did enjoy it. I thought it was better than well, I shouldn't say it was better, but I actually did enjoy it more than I did the first film. I really don't know what it was about it, but yeah, for some reason, I just got some more enjoyment out of this film than I did when the first film when I saw this film in theaters. Overall, the first film, it is the better film, but I just got more enjoyment out of this one. I don't know what it is about it, but for some reason, I just really do enjoy this film more than the first. So I don't know. So in this film, you still have uh Gore Verbinski is he returned as the director, and you still have the same cast returning. Yeah, you still have Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow, Orlando Bloom as Will Turner, Keira Knightley as Elizabeth, and then yeah, you do also have some other crew members of the Black Pearl crew reprising their roles as well. So yeah, yeah, and yeah, once again, they do a pretty good job in this film. Johnny Depp still he just is great as Captain Jack Sparrow, despite the fact that he can get overused in points in this film, and at sometimes it just seems really stupid. He still really does give it his all, and he's really good as Captain Jack Sparrow. I watched Nostalgia Critics Disney December video for the Pirates of the Caribbean sequels, and he says it wasn't really necessary to really bring back Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley as Will and Elizabeth, because yeah, basically their story was just told in the first film, and there really wasn't anything else that needed to go on with them. So yeah, it probably really wasn't. They probably really didn't need to bring them back in this film, but I mean, I was fine with it. For what they do with them in this film, I mean, I think it is just fine. I mean, it's nothing really too absolutely terrible, where it's just something where you're just bored through it. I mean, Will and Elizabeth, they still are interesting characters in this, and yeah, I do like how in this film it shows that Elizabeth I actually does think like Will's dad is showing that Jack is trying to put the moves on her and stuff, and really just she's not interested and stuff. And yeah, we do like get like what happens at the end of this film. So yeah, I think that they are just fine. And plus, in this film, we also do get like a conflict with like Will meeting his father, who's like a uh, member of the crew for the Flying Dutchman. And yeah, like some people have complained because in the first film it was said how Will and his father like looked all like pretty much identical and they got mistaken for each other. But yeah, you can see like in this film they really do not share the same looks at all. So yeah, that was kind of something that people did complain about. But yeah, in this film like the villain is a Davy Jones who's like Captain of the Flying Dutchman. And yeah, the design for Davy Jones is just great. Like he has like the face of kind of like an octopus, and it shows like he has kind of like a crab or a lobster claw and stuff. And yeah, just the crew of the Flying Dutchman, like they're all just like really like a sea creature type of designs for them. Like they're not like just like totally human like normal pirates. Like they actually do have like I just said, some real sea creature style appearances. So it is like really interesting to see them. And yeah, personally, like I think that I did kind of enjoy like the Flying Dutchman crew in this film more than I did the Black Pearl crew in the first film with Hector Barboza and like all his crew. Like they were good too, but I don't know, like just seeing like the designs of like these Flying Dutchman crew members, I actually do kind of like watching them. And yeah, they are like, yeah, they really do seem like a lot more like villainous type of character. So I really do like them in this film. So yeah, I guess like it is up for debate which villain crew people could like better between like the Black Pearl crew in the first film or the Flying Dutchman crew in this one. But yeah, I actually do like the Flying Dutchman crew in this film. Like they're all like, yeah, just looking at them, they just look really awesome and stuff, and I really do enjoy watching them, especially like Davy Jones and stuff. So yeah, and yeah, this film like did make the most money out of all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I mean, yeah, the first film like it made around like made about like over $650 million. But yeah, this like film grossed over $1 billion. So yeah, and even like the other films, they didn't really gross as much money as this film did. So yeah, this was the Pirates of the Caribbean film that did make the most money. And yeah, well, and yeah, it does take a while for like the story for this film to really get going. Like I don't know, the first half of this film, it really doesn't go anywhere. Like I felt like kind of like bored watching like the first half of this film. I mean, because we got the stuff with like Jack and like that cannibal tribe and stuff, and I don't know, that stuff just gets kind of boring and it like goes on like forever and stuff. And like for me, the film really doesn't like really get going until like the time when Will actually does like come aboard the Flying Dutchman ship and like meets his father and Davy Jones and stuff. Like that's really where the it really gets going and it really does start to get like really intriguing and stuff. The stuff before that, it's not really like totally like terrible or anything, but I don't know, it just really like it doesn't really like get my interest very much. Like I'm not really interested in like what happens in the first half of this film. Like the second half, I really like a lot more, and it just really becomes more interesting and stuff. Yeah, and plus also in this film, like you do have like this sea monster, the Kraken, who like is like under the control of Davy Jones or something, and is just like sent after like Jack and the Black Pearl and stuff. So yeah, and the Kraken's also like a really great design also. So yeah, there are like a lot of great designs in this film. It's a really creative like type of setup for this film. I don't know. Is the story actually better in this film than in the first? Well, I don't know. I mean, the first film, it definitely like the first film like did seem like a lot darker than this film. While this film really does go like more of a like a light-hearted approach than the first film did, but so yeah, I would say probably the first one does have the better story and stuff, but yeah, there's still like definitely like a lot of things in this film that I really did enjoy. So yeah, I really do think like as a follow up for the first film, I did think it delivered, and I did think that they did do a pretty good job with this film. So yeah, it is an overall good film. I would give it probably about I don't know 3.25 stars out of 4. I mean, yeah, it was like like leaning towards giving it a 3.5 stars, but then when I looked over and then when I saw like how really like with the first half how it is like pretty slow and the second half is where really things really do get in gear, that really like kind of like just made me decide, I'll take it down to 3.25 stars. So yeah, still a good film nonetheless. Just it's really not exactly like the great film that the first film was. Like I think the first film just really like it was better paced and it did have like a better story to it and stuff. And probably just the first one probably had what people really were wanting to see with pirates. So yeah, I just think the first film probably did its job better than this one did. But still, this is a good film nonetheless. Alright, so yeah, let me just get right into it. Alright, so as the film opens up, it's showing that Will and Elizabeth are like about to be married, but then like Lord Cutler Beckett ends up putting their wedding to a halt, and the Lord Beckett is like the East India Trading Company chairman, and then like he places both of them under arrest for helping Jack Sparrow escape in the previous film. And it's also shown that there's also a warrant out for Norrington's arrest, and like Norrington just ended up resigning, and he ended up just disappearing after he lost the HMS Dauntless, which were the flagship of the Navy, in a hurricane when he was pursuing Jack. And it's showing that Jack is still like captain of the Black Pearl, and eventually he ends up like coming across Will's father, Bootstrap Bill Turner, and yeah, it's shown that Bootstrap is a crewman for the Flying Dutchman, which is captained by Davy Jones, as I said earlier. And yeah, it was like revealed that Jack actually uh, bartered heard a deal in the past with Davy Jones to raise the pearl from the depths. And so basically, like Jack had to join the Dutchman crew, or he'll be dragged back to Davy Jones' locker by the Kraken. Yeah. And so yeah, Jack found himself in kind of that type of situation where it was basically like a life or death situation for him. And eventually, like Beckett then like told Will that he will free Elizabeth if he actually does bring Jack's magic compass, which could point to whatever the holder wants the most. And so, that as Will was trying to find Jack, he then ended up like being captured by some cannibals, and it showed that Jack was part of the cannibals as well. And so then, yeah, Will was just talking to Jack and telling him what was like going on with him and Elizabeth, and yeah, Jack was like talking with the cannibal tribe, and as he was, then he just like decided to Will to just save him, and then yeah, eventually yeah, Jack ended up like being saved from the cannibals, and he like ended up like getting in a chase with them and stuff, but yeah, Jack eventually ended up escaping from the yeah, cannibals. And then yeah, Jack then just took the rest of his crew, and then they eventually uh visited Tia Dalma, who was the voodoo priestess, and yeah, Jack was basically like just telling her about Davy Jones and stuff, and she revealed to Jack and the crew that Davy Jones' weakness would be his heart, which is locked in the dead man's chest. And so, oh yeah, Jack then like knew that he needed to find it, and just really just basically destroy the heart. But he also like needed the key that would open the chest. So yeah, he had to like go out to try to find that and stuff. And meanwhile, as that's going on, Elizabeth ended up like being freed from jail by the Governor Swan. But yeah, as she was captured, then like she was bargaining with Beckett to find the compass, and so then like Elizabeth disguised herself as like a cabin boy that was aboard a Scottish merchant vessel, and then was on the way to Tortunga, and and then she eventually ended up coming across Jack along with Norrington. Yeah, and then eventually like as Will was just telling Jack more about Elizabeth and how he has to find her or else like she'll be arrested and in jail and stuff. Then Jack told Will about the key, and so then Jack told Will that if Will Will found the key to the chest, Jack would give Will his compass. And so then yeah, and eventually like Jack ended up just tricking Will to go aboard the Dutchman after they found it. And then yeah, of course like this was all just basically a ruse by Jack. And then yeah, once Will like went aboard the Dutchman, he then like just ended up being tricked into Shanghai by Davy Jones and the crew, and then eventually um and Davy Jones like after Will told Davy Jones like why he was there, he brought up Jack Sparrow. Then Davy Jones then visited Jack and like just told him what was going on, and then Davy Jones told Jack that like he will release Jack from the condition that he had in exchange for 100 souls. So and then yeah, and Davy Jones basically gave Jack just 3 days to like really just sacrifice 100 souls to him, and Will was one of them. So Jack had a 99 more, and yeah, and then eventually on the Dutchman, Will then finally like ended up meeting his father and stuff, and then and yeah, and then like they like had like a connection with each other and stuff after Will found out that Bootstrap Bill was his father. Yeah, and and like it was like shown that the Dutchman crew like played this game called a Liar's Dice, nice and stuff, and then Will ended up challenging Davy Jones to a game of Liar's Dice. Nice, and so then yeah, like Will put like his soul on the line, like saying that he'll be a crew member of the Dutchman for eternity if Davy Jones wins. But yeah, Will like also like put it up against the key to the chest, and Davy Jones like showed that he had it, and it was basically just like around his neck. And as they were playing, Bootstrap Bill ended up joining also, pretty much matching Will's uh, bid and stuff. And so then yeah, and Davy Jones ended up defeating Will and Bootstrap Bill in the game, and yeah, basically like it then made Bootstrap Bill like forced to serve for all eternity, and then yeah, then Will just ended up revealing to his father that it really wasn't about winning or losing. He just wanted to know where the key was, and so then after he discovered that Davy Jones had the key, then like later that night, Will ended up sneaking the key and away and stealing it. And then eventually, like, Will ended up escaping the uh, Dutchman with the key, and then, like, he ended up, like, then taken aboard that um, Scottish vessel that Elizabeth was on. And then, yeah, and while that's all going on, like, and Tortunga, then Jack, like, put in, like, his new crew for the Pearl, which had included, like, Elizabeth and Norrington, and so then like then Elizabeth like ended up using Jack's compass, and they were able to find the chest. Yes, and then Davy Jones like after then like sent the Kraken after Will, and then like the Kraken ended up attacking that Scottish vessel and sinking it, but Will was able to escape, and then like they ended up then like Jack and Elizabeth and the crew eventually ended up arriving on Isla Cruces, and then they ended up digging up the chest, and Will also then arrived. And yeah, then like then there was like this battle into because all three, Jack, Will, and Norrington, all wanted the Davy Jones's heart for their different reasons. They each had goals. Like Jack wanted the heart because he wanted to, of course, to call off the Kraken. Will wanted the heart because he wanted to rescue his father from the Dutchman, and Norrington wanted the heart because he just wanted to get back his old life and he just wanted to be a Navy officer again. And so the three of them engaged in a sword fight, like it was all three of them fighting together on the beach. Yeah, it just like went on for like 10 minutes or something. All three of them were just battling with each other, and then like they ended up like what getting into battle on like this water wheel or something. Yeah, and like they each of them like ended up like snatching the key from each other like constantly, and eventually like Jack ended up retrieving the key and running off with it. Yeah, but yeah, and then like as they were like coming toward the sea and like towards their lifeboat, and Jack like ended up like hiding the heart in like a jar of sand. But then like as that was going on, like Norrington ended up like sneaking the heart away, and he ended up running off with it. And yeah, he like grabbed the chest as the Dutchman crew were like approaching, like him, Will, Jack, Elizabeth, and everyone else. Like Norrington then just ran off to supposedly lure the crew away and stuff. And then as a Jack, Will, Elizabeth, and just the Pearl's crew were like setting off, Davy Jones then launched another attack on the Pearl with the Kraken. And yeah, we had like this battle with like the crew and the Kraken, and the Kraken was just like just devouring a lot of the crew, and like just was destroying all the lifeboats as well. There was just like one lifeboat left, and it showed that Jack was like trying to flee from the battle, but then like he eventually ended up returning, and then he ended up like fending off the Kraken again, and with a net of gunpowder and rum, and that like then like ended up like stunning the Kraken off for a minute, and it gave them like the crew, the rest of the crew, time to abandon the ship, and as they were like all setting off in the lifeboat, well, setting down in the lifeboat, like Elizabeth and Jack were still aboard the ship, and Elizabeth was just thinking Jack was coming back and calling him a good man and stuff, and Schultz was starting to kiss him and stuff, and like she was just like backing Jack up, and then like she just ended up like chaining him to the mast, and yeah, she just then like knew that the Kraken only wanted Jack and not everyone else, and so then yeah, Elizabeth then got in the boat, and then like the rest of the crew then just ended up escaping and stuff, and then yeah, Jack then like was able to like free himself from the chain, but then like the Kraken like rose up to the surface again, and yeah, Jack then just went like faced off with the Kraken, and yeah, Jack basically just jumped right into the Kraken's mouth to fight it, and then yeah, the Kraken basically then just dragged Jack and the Pearl down to Davy Jones' locker. Yeah, and Davy Jones and the Dutchman crew like just watched the Kraken pull the Pearl and Jack down, and then like he was like Davy Jones and the crew then like had the dead man chest back, and when they opened it up, they saw that the heart is gone and stuff. And then yeah, in Port Royal, as the Pearl crew was like taking shelter with Tia Dalma, like well, and also well, before that, I should say, like in Port Royal, Norrington gave up Beckett the heart, along with the layers of mark that were in the chest that were meant for Jack, and then, like, then Norrington was like just allowed back into the Navy, and he had control of Davy Jones and the seas. Yeah, and then yeah, then now the crew of the Pearl were taking shelter with Tia Dalma, and they were all just like saying honoring Jack, and then like they all were. Tia Dalma just said that they would all have to band together to try to save Jack, and then like they all then agreed to set off to rescue Jack, including Elizabeth. And then Tia Dalma then just said they would need a captain who knows that area to guide them. And so then, yeah, it was then revealed that Hector Barbosa had been resurrected, and so then he would be their captain to rescue Jack. And so then, yeah, and then that's how the film ended. And yeah, this would of course then like carry over to the next film where the story would continue. So yeah. So, yeah, this was a pretty good film overall. I mean, there were some dumb moments in here, and like I said, the first half of the film, it really is, like, pretty boring, and yeah, it really does take a while for this film to get going, but when it does, like, in the second half, it is, like, really, really good. So, yeah, if you are interested in watching this, I mean, I would probably just say, well, yeah, you probably will have to watch like this whole film, but yeah, if you want to actually just like get to like the interesting parts, I would probably just say skip to this like the second half. Just like start with like right where Will comes aboard the Dutchman ship and just like watch it from there. But yeah, if you actually, but yeah, you probably will actually have to like see this whole film to know like the full story of it. So yeah, but yeah, for the interesting stuff, just like skip to the halfway point and watch it. But and regardless, it's still like a really good film. I mean, yeah, really good cast, a good story, great designs for the Dutchman crew. Yeah, it is just like it is a really enjoyable film. So yeah, and it is a good follow up to the first film. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, it is a pretty good film overall. Alright, so yeah, so that's all I really have to say about it. So yeah, that does it for my review of Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.